Coming up on 30 seconds until airtime, on my mark. Mark, 30 seconds. Your next and final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds. Have fun.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Georgia Southern Sports Network. On the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield, presented by Morris Bank, this is Hail Southern Live.
Glory to God and a bunch of great kids. Is college football not the best thing on earth?
Live at Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro. Hot wings, cold beer, and good times. Coming up, your all-access pass into Georgia's Southern Athletics. Hail Southern Live is brought to you by Morris Bank. Bleed blue, bank blue. Morris Bank, member FDIC. The Georgia Lottery. Today could be the day. And by Savannah Hilton Head International Airport and the Savannah Airport Commission. Make sure to tweet your questions to @GS Sports Network. Now let's head live inside Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro. Here's the voice of the Eagles, Danny Reed.
Eagle Nation, it is great to see you again. Back one more time at Wild Wing Cafe for Hail Southern Live on this Monday night in Statesboro, powered by Learfield, brought to you each week by Morris Bank. It is a big one coming up Thursday night at Allen E. Paulson Stadium. Georgia Southern versus Georgia State, 10th all-time meeting. First time in program history that a Thursday home game follows a Saturday home game. We're on at 7:30 on ESPN2 on Thursday night. We'll be live with the Cutwater Spirits Tailgate Show starting from Paulson at 5:30 and see if the Eagles can get to 6-2 overall. Defeated ULM for homecoming this past Saturday, 38-28 at Paulson. Got up 31-7, then hung on at the end thanks to the pick six from Tyrell Davis inside of 2.5 minutes. Going to do things a little bit differently tonight with the team currently preparing for the Panthers. We'll talk a little bit with Georgia Southern Athletics COO Chris Davis later on, and the Hall of Famer Tracy Ham will join us to talk a little football, a little Apex programming, also a little bit about the high school AD symposium that took place on campus over the last couple of days. Going to start things off with some Georgia Southern men's golf after a big victory at the Busch Cup at Congaree last week in year 17 with the program. Eagle Nation, please give it up for men's golf head coach Carter Collins to Wild Wing Cafe. You brought your own fan club, too. That's fancy.
Yeah. Good to hear a little cheering every now and then.
You always look to find out the personality of your team, and from last year with all those fifth-year seniors, you knew them extremely well, but everybody knew them extremely well. With almost a clean slate, some guys were back, but now they're trying to be the guy. What kind of personality has this team taken on?
I think they're still finding it. You know, we spent a good bit of the fall traveling around all over the country. We played some golf in San Antonio, Texas, and South Bend, Indiana, and Congaree right up the road in Ridgeland. And I think the team is definitely closer to finding that identity that we were chasing at the beginning of the year, but we're still looking for it, but we're getting there.
When you have long trips like that, how much more does it help you in trying to build a new team?
It helps. You know, it adds that little bit of extra chemistry that you can get on the road, and plane rides and, you know, all the train rides and everything that comes with the long travels is early mornings, you know, guys helping each other get up in the morning. I think it helps build some chemistry, and also cool to see some awesome places all around the country and some good golf courses we played.
Now, in some past interviews we've done, and this is going to come up again on the next edition of the Inside Eagle Nation podcast coming up next week. Tomorrow we're going to be talking with Elliott Hall of the Firemaker Brewing Company to talk about the Hail Southern beer, but Coach Collins will be up next week as we'll preview that road trip to Texas State. But something we've talked about a lot is that when the team has to drive to an event, you're the one that's driving. So with everybody in the back of the van, are you simply the pilot? Are you telling them stories, or how does the trip go when you're the one driving the van?
They sleep a good bit.
Okay.
And, you know, hopefully I'm driving good enough where they can rest and relax a little bit. And our assistant coach drives a little bit as well. And most of the time they're asking some stories about previous teams and personalities and tournaments we've been to and some of my favorite stories from the years. But more times than not, they're either doing homework or watching a movie or hanging out by themselves.
When you've got three guys from last year's team that are currently playing professionally, toss Stephen Fisk in there as well, I would imagine that's a pretty good conversation.
Huge. I mean, Stephen's career has been wonderful so far. He's only 26, and He just finished his second full year on the Korn Ferry Tour, made over $150,000 this year,
Wow.
finished top 65 on the money list, earned full status for next year. So Steven's doing incredible, and you got guys right behind him. Mason Williams, Wilson Anders, Ben Carr all have had great highlight starts to their pro career. So we're very excited, and it's fun for Georgia Southern to see him launch out of here.
Just talked about the fact that you played at Congaree last week. The Bush Cup against Army had to rally to get it done, but an 8.5 to 6.5 victory. I know you guys have a really good relationship, the Eagles and the Black Knights on the golf course. But how did that particular event come together?
First of all, Bush Cup's one of the coolest events I've ever been a part of. It came about. So the Bush Cup is named after George H.W. Bush, and they've done 6 of them now. So they started it way back when. They played Yale on the first one because that's where George Bush graduated from. And
Yep.
every year they pick a team anywhere in the country, Alabama, SMU, Stanford, Yale. They've played a bunch of different teams, and they pick the most exclusive good course they can around that team. So the relationship I have with Colonel Bagley was great, and he wanted to choose Georgia Southern for the 6th Bush Cup, and we were honored for that. And Congaree was a natural pick, only an hour up the road, and one of the best courses in the country.
When you take guys to courses like that where the best in the world have played there, what more do you think it brings out in them?
Oh, for sure. I mean, they were able to watch PGA Tour YouTube videos of Rory winning out there and Dustin Johnson winning out there, and then just a few days after watching those videos, they're out there hitting the same shots from the same place. It's surreal.
Now, fall competition has concluded. You'll get a chance to – how will you spend the next few months getting ready for February and the Sharkey and then everything else that's coming up also with the Schenkel?
Team. That's what we're looking forward to, and this, I wouldn't say it's a break. This is our most important part of the year because this is how we prepare for spring. How good a winter we have will show in how good a spring we have. So right now we're doing a bunch of team building, playing some wiffle ball tomorrow night under the lights near Eagle Creek. We've got another wiffle ball game at the Tip coming up in a few weeks. We have our Halloween golf tournament coming up in October 30th, where our entire team dresses up as a separate character, and they all play 9 holes. They keep score. They go through the whole deal. Everybody's committed. And we try and do stuff like that. We also we start workouts again tomorrow morning at Ironworks with Coach Holka. We have team practice Tuesday, Thursday mornings after workouts. So it's a great balance of we're getting after it. We're getting our bodies stronger, more prepared for spring. We're playing golf. We're obviously getting our game sharp for winter tournaments, but we're also getting around each other as much as we can to have fun and have a good time, have some laughs.
Do you notice a wiffle ball swing have any kind of impact on the golf swing, or does that not have anything to do with it?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. I think we got some guys that can absolutely mash a wiffle ball. I think we have some guys that might swing and miss a little bit. I think it's going to be a good mixture of everything in between, but it's going to be some good team building.
All right, what's been your best costume? Whether it's been one you've personally worn or one you've seen.
Oh, it's no doubt who our best has been. So we've done 4 of them before. Brantley Baker is a 2-time champion. 2 years ago, he dressed up as Colonel Sanders, which I still think is the best. I don't know how he picked it, but he showed up dressed head to toe. I encourage anybody that's interested in seeing what he looked like or sounded like to go to our social media page. We did some skits with Colonel Sanders. He carried around a KFC bucket. He handed out some coupons to random golfers at GSU. He nailed it. And then he followed that up with a performance last year. It was incredible. He was the Heath Ledger Joker from Dark Knight Rises. And he rode in the same cart as Ben Carr, who was Batman from he was the Batman, the new one. But them two went back and forth for 9 holes. But Brantley was the Joker last year, and it was incredible. He was in deep character. We got a little worried about him coming out of character after a little bit, and but he's been great. But every year that's part of it. Like, everybody sells out for these costumes. Everybody goes all out. You have to stay in character for all 9 holes, and they do a great job with it. So this year I'm looking forward to some new Hall of Famers.
Now, you're playing a Division I sport. You're playing it at the highest level, but at the same time, you need to have events like that where they can have fun and simply enjoy what they're experiencing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's remembering a little bit of why you play the game.
Yeah.
You're getting around. You're going to the golf course to have fun with your friends. That's why we started playing. So anytime we can remind them that it's still a fun sport where you can get around your teammates, have a good time, that's what we're here to do as coaches.
What strides will this team be taking over the course of the fall in addition to what they're doing physically?
besides the team building and the work we're doing on our bodies, our short game is definitely always a focus for every college team around the country. Course management's a big focus for us, especially with a bunch of new guys in the lineup that are seeing these types of golf courses for the first time. We're definitely pushing the course management side of things, shot selection, target commitment, those kind of things, and some sports psychology and sprinkled in as well. So a little bit of everything.
Sharkey coming up in February. I know this is a story that a lot of people know, but the chance to do this every year and honor the memory of Thomas Sharkey, for someone that's been here for 17 years, how much more special is that?
It means the world. We lost Thomas in 2011, and he made an unbelievable impact in the few years that he was here. There's still some great stories coming up, great stories about him. We have our alumni reunion coming up next month, and I'm sure there's going to be some stories told about him. He was an incredible teammate, a fiery competitor, and to have this tournament named after him that his mom allowed us to do has been incredible for us, and we're honored that his name's on it. And every year we get a little Scottish weather in his honor, and I expect this year to be no different. And we're very excited to host that tournament again. It's been a wonderful springboard for a lot of our guys going into the spring, and we appreciate the opportunity to have Thomas's name on that tournament.
Well, Carter, we've had our annual fall visit. We'll do it again in the spring. When the Schenkel rolls around, you go for another championship there. Appreciate what you do for this place, this program. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you, Danny. Hail Southern.
That's head golf coach Carter Collins. We'll come back with Georgia Southern Athletics COO Chris Davis to get a preview of Georgia State on Thursday night at Paulson. You're listening to Hail Southern live from Wild Wing Cafe on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
It's football time, which turns Sunday and Thursday into the best days of the week. Well, they just got better, because now through October 29th, Keno has 30% higher payouts during bonus hours. Win $500, it becomes $650. The bonus hours are Sunday 1 to 3 p.m. and Thursday 6 to 8 p.m. So play Keno online and anywhere Keno is sold and get 30% higher payouts during bonus hours. Sundays 1 to 3 p.m. and Thursdays 6 to 8 p.m. Only from the Georgia Lottery. Play responsibly.
Eagle Nation, this is William Martin from Southern Exchange Company. We're proud to always bring you the best selection of Georgia Southern gear for game day and every day. Make sure to stop by and visit us at our store across from campus on Chandler Road or online at southernexchangecompany.com. Follow Southern Exchange on social media at SXC Statesboro for the latest gear in stock. Southern Exchange Company, the official merchandiser of Georgia Southern Athletics.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
On game day, success starts with a great game plan. No matter if you're at home or on the road, greatness starts here with the Ford F-150 truck. Delivering a rare combination of power and smart technology like the available class-exclusive Pro Power onboard, Ford F-150 helps make great things possible. See your local Ford dealer and score a great offer on F-150. See owner's manual for important operating instructions. Class is full-size pickups number 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
It's a Thursday night blue out at Paulson Stadium as your Georgia Southern Eagles play host to the Georgia State Panthers at 7:30 p.m. on October 26th. Call 1-800-GSU-WINS or visit gseagles.com/tickets. Watch the blue and white inside the prettiest little stadium in America. It's the first ever Thursday night matchup between the Eagles and the Panthers. October 26th, 7:30 kickoff. Visit gseagles.com/tickets to get yours or call 1-800-GSU-WINS. Eagle Nation, tune in to Inside Georgia Southern Football each Monday, 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus, and watch locally on WJCL Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Our weekly 30-minute dive into Eagle football features head coach Clay Helton looking back at the week before and previewing the week ahead. It's football season, and your inside look is each Monday, 11 a.m. on ESPN Plus and Saturdays at 11:30 on WJCL. Inside Georgia Southern Football with head coach Clay Helton. Don't miss it.
The passion.
He's going to take it to the house. Dinner's cooking. Touchdown.
The fury.
Getting blitzed. Down he goes.
The speed.
By 40, there he goes. Down the sideline.
college football.
Toward the end zone. Got it for 6 points.
You can unhitch the wagon. Put the ponies in the barn. Back to the end zone. 30, 20.
This is the College Football Bliss. Listen all season long on College Sports Now on the Varsity Network.
College sports fans now have access to hundreds of weekly podcasts that zero in on the college sports world. Now available in the Varsity Podcast Network and part of the new Varsity app. The app is free and available from wherever you get your favorite apps. Download the Varsity app today to have access to hundreds of national podcasts as well as your favorite team-focused podcasts. The Varsity Podcast Network, now available for free on the Varsity app. Download from the App Store and listen today.
Clap snap, four-man pressure. Brim all day, throws down the middle for Burgess. Nice catch, breaks a tackle. Burgess is free, 30-yard line, far side numbers 20. Gallops to the 15, 10, 5, wings up, Eagle Nation. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. Number 2 goes for 52 as Godsey couldn't make the play for ULM. Derwin Burgess finds the end zone for the 4th time this season, and the Eagles right back within 7-6. Derwin Burgess's 4th career reception of 50 yards or more got Georgia Southern on the board en route to a 38-28 homecoming victory over ULM last Saturday, getting the Eagles to a 5-2 record, 2-1 in conference play, making Thursday that much more important. Georgia State comes to town at 7:30 at Paulson. They are 6-1, 3-1 in conference play, so the winner of this contest would take over de facto first in the East Division. If you have any questions or comments, please submit those on Facebook Live, or you can tweet us at GS Sports Network. A terrific job, as always, by men's golf head coach Carter Collins. Congratulations again to them on an outstanding fall in their victory at the Busch Cup from last week. Going to talk a little bit of operations, a little bit of Eagle football, and just how you put on 2 football games, 2 home games in less than a week. It's never been done in program history, but that's the task coming up on Thursday. For more light on that, please welcome in the COO of Georgia Southern Athletics, Chris Davis, to Wild Wing Cafe.
Thanks, Danny. Good to be here tonight.
It is a pleasure to have you on the broadcast.
It is. I'll tell you what, I'm glad to be here with you.
Finishing up a busy couple of days with the Georgia High School Athletics AD Symposium. That's something that Jarrett instituted last year, and to trade ideas, have conversations, especially now with NIL continuing to change the face of college athletics, seems more beneficial now than ever.
Yes, it was great. Jarrett started this idea. It was a fantastic idea 2 years ago. Last year we had 42 ADs from across the state. This year we had 55. Just fantastic to have all those athletic directors from around the state. And our entire athletics department was involved, various different panels. We even had student athletes there.
Yeah.
And so it's just a really, really good time to spend some time discussing college athletics, but also how the transition from high school athletics to college athletics, and to really go back and forth and to look on, there was questions about what could they do better to prepare a student athlete to be ready for college, as much as what could we do to communicate down the line better. So it was that, shared ideas, we talked a little NIL, it was a lot of fun.
To know that that kind of communication channel is now open, not that it was ever closed, but to know that it is completely open, where it's a vice versa, it's a reciprocal kind of deal, how much more beneficial is it? Well,
it's great. I mean, if you think about it, our coaches from all of our sports are running around the state and the region and the country recruiting all the time.
Yeah.
So our coaches are all in and out of these high schools, but from an administration standpoint, from an athletic director standpoint, there's not a shared system in that regard.
Yeah.
So to have that extra touch point with all these high schools that we're already involved with from a recruiting standpoint across all of our sports, it's fantastic to have that time and to have that extra time together to really discuss all the different things that affect college athletics and, for that matter, high school athletics.
Getting back to the issue at hand, the victory over ULM for homecoming last weekend, now a Thursday night home game against Georgia State, as we mentioned. This has never happened before, with a Thursday home game following a Saturday home game, 2 in 6 days, and you've got your arch rival coming down, one of your arch rivals, with App State still to be played a little bit later on this year. But knowing that what is on the line for these two? First time that they've probably been on a similar plane in the 10 matchup history of the rivalry, and trying to get everything ready to switch opponents and switch gears. What are the considerations?
Well, first component is we look at the weather forecast, because that's the uncontrollable. And so weather forecast looks pretty solid throughout the whole week, which is fantastic. As it relates to our team, first of all, and when I say our team, we'll instead of talking ball, which I know Coach Helton would not want me to do, nor will I try to, but we can. That's why you got Tracy here today, right? But we can talk a lot about the operations and to know that there's a lot that goes into it. We have a fantastic group of individuals that make up our athletics department that go across the whole realm of everything, right? And so we are talking a lot about, as soon as Saturday game was over, we flipped the switch right away to talking about Thursday's game.
Okay.
Sunday was not Sunday. Monday is not Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday is not Tuesday, and so
Right.
forth. So Sunday was a work day. I mean, there was a ton of planning, ton of operations in play, ton of promotion. There's a lot of things out there, and we can talk about that later. But from an operation standpoint, we immediately, as soon as the game was over, we actually huddled up inside the end zone right after the game to go through a few things we already spoke about, and we were activating the plan. If you look back and you go back to that Coastal game, huge testament to our staff, selling it out and setting the attendance record, but really making sure that everybody had a great experience. And I think that Eagle Nation deserves that. Eagle Nation's going to show up inside of Paulson, but then it's our job to make sure we do everything we can to make that experience be really impactful so that they enjoy their time at Paulson, cheering on the Eagles, and making sure that they're excited to come back. So that's one of the big things that we push a lot on, is making sure that the experience for every single person that walks through those gates at Paulson, we try to touch point and have that go the extra mile for them.
The attendance numbers are going to vary game to game, week to week, opponent to opponent, but the standard is always going to be the standard regardless of what the number that announced is in the fourth quarter or whenever it gets announced. So how have you guys, Jared, how has this staff been built to continually live up to that standard?
Well, we'll go essentially behind the curtain on one thing. 3 years ago, we started a deal that after every single game, every person that touches our athletic department and working in that game day has the ability to, through their lens, to see anything we need to assess and adjust on. It all goes to a gentleman by the name of Nick Skoll, who's our Associate AD for Events and Facilities. It all goes to him. He compiles it. We have a meeting. We take a look at everything. And typically those lists start out in first game, first, second, third, or first two games around 80 to 100 items. And then sometimes they fall pretty quick because we attack. And so you have to have a process-driven mentality. Is it sometimes fun to look at every single thing through that lens? Not necessarily, because you're looking at everything and you're nitpicking yourself.
Yeah.
But if you really want to put out the best product you can with all the controllables, you have to have a process-driven mentality. You also have to have an innovation. At the end of the day, Georgia Southern has incredible traditions. And what we try to do for Eagle Nation every day is embrace the traditions, look for every place where we can impact those traditions even further, and then fight for innovation. That's what we do. Fight. We're fighting every day for innovation, looking for different ideas and different ways to do it, and by still staying core to what we have, which is an unbelievable amount of traditions and an unbelievable fan base, because at the core, it's all about the student athlete. And so if it's at the core, it's about the student athlete, we have to surround the student athlete with really cool experiences when they get a chance, no matter what sport it is, to go ahead and wear that blue and white and represent the brand Georgia Southern University.
I want to go back to the Coastal game because what you just talked about directly ties all of that together. End of the third quarter, before the fourth quarter, something that we had not seen before. Lights go out, blue lights come on, flashlights come on, creating something in that stadium that had never been seen or felt before. Can we go a little bit more behind the curtain as to how that came together?
Sure. So we knew that, being in a night game, and we really at this point now, if you look at all of our external units, we have people in place that have a high care factor and have a high ability on a skill set. And so when we break down the walls of not having any silos and we're working together as a team, you can pull off some really cool things. And so we worked together across the board to look at how we could essentially get a little flavor into that third to fourth quarter, being a night game.
Yeah.
And then add another extra step to it, which was, and Gata Productions, who does all of our ESPN broadcasts on the Plus, and they also do our video board show, and taking the drone footage, doing all the correct paperwork with the conference, with the FAA, et cetera, to make sure that we had incredible drone footage of the whole day, but also to be able to put that to the video board, which I think was an added component. And to be very transparent, Danny, we had a little bit of an issue with our video board that day that no one picked up on. And so there was an audible that actually that it got called on that day because we had a video actually that was supposed to play that we could not play. Not has anything to do with other than the only way to reset it was it's just technology. And so we were ready to go, and we as you know, if I didn't say it, no one would ever know.
Yeah.
But it's just a testament to our team because no one ever realized it. And from the music to the countdown to going dark to then, putting on the light show with the Musco LED lights. I mean, it was really awesome. And Eagle Nation, listen, this game on Thursday, we're going to have the same type of climate. It's going to be dark by the time we get to that third, fourth quarter. So saddle up. We got something.
So you're saying something without actually saying something.
We got something.
Okay.
But you have to be there. So, I mean, you ever hear of FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Well, you got to be there to experience it. So remember, bring all your friends. There's tickets available yet. We are pushing it. We want to pack Paulson again. There's still more records to be broken as it relates to attendance. But let's put it together. And remember, it's a wear blue night, isn't it?
It is a blowout.
Blue out.
1-800-GSU-WINS, gseagles.com/tickets. Get that taken care of. If you have, get more. If you haven't, please do so. Make it extremely difficult for State coming down on Thursday on national television. Time for a break. We'll have one more segment with Chris Davis, and we'll also speak this evening with Tracy Ham. From Wild Wing, this is Hail Southern Live in Statesboro on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
Wild Wing, I think I love you. Hey, Eagle Nation, this is Terry Harvin from the Georgia Southern Sports Network. Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro is your true blue home for hot wings, cold beer, and good times. Owned and operated by a proud Georgia Southern grad, Wild Wing Cafe is the official home of Hail Southern Live, the Eagles' weekly sports show every Monday night starting at 7 p.m. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, catering, or takeouts, you'll say the same thing I do every time. Wild Wing, I think I love you. Go Eagles and go Wild Wing.
Your cargo transportation choice in Savannah and the Southeast. For freight management, consolidation, warehousing, and more, including flexible and responsive drayage solutions. Your success is our final destination. Savannah Logistics Group.
A logistics company that strives to deliver the best drivers, employees, and customer experience through our core values of empowerment, innovation, and consistency. Savannah Logistics Group, a proud supporter of Georgia Southern Athletics.
It's game day. What do you take to the tailgate? A flat screen TV? Take it to the tailgate. Your wife's favorite blender? A DJ sound system? With a Ford F-150 truck, you can take it all. With available Pro Power onboard that acts like a mobile generator, you can use F-150 to take your tailgate to the next level. See your local Ford dealer and score a great offer on F-150. See owner's manual for important operating instructions.
Hey fans, this is Wayne Cook, co-host of College Sports Now. We're breaking down all the action from around the country every week with new episodes dropping 4 days a week during the football season. We'll look beyond the box score and keep our finger on the pulse of college football from September all the way to the national championship game in January. Listen all season long on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you'd love to get your podcasts. And be sure to follow along on Twitter at CSNowTweets.
Which schools will take home the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup for the 2023-24 college athletics season? You can follow the standings of your favorite school or alma mater at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. That's thedirectorscup.com and L Directors Cup on Twitter. Trophies will be awarded in June 2024 to the winning institutions in all competitive divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
Hey Eagle fans, this is Jared Benko. Renew your basketball season tickets today to watch Charlie Henry's first season leading the Eagles. Prices start at $100 for general admission and $150 for upper reserve. Reserve yours by calling 1-800-GSU-WINS or visit gseagles.com/tickets. Parking passes this season are also available to Earl Russell Fund donors for $100. Experience Georgia Southern basketball in its final full season at Hanner Fieldhouse. Renew your season tickets today. 1-800-GSU-WINS or gseagles.com/tickets.
This is Hail Southern Live, powered by Learfield, live at Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro. Here's Danny Reed.
Hail Southern Live is brought to you each week by Georgia Power. Georgia Power, a Southern company. About halfway through this week's edition from Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro, previewing the Georgia State matchup coming up on Thursday, 7:30 Eastern kick on ESPN2. You can listen to us beginning at 5:30 with the Cutwater Spirits tailgate show. And then it's the Eagles and the Panthers inside the prettiest little stadium in America. We did have a question come in, Mr. Davis. This is from Anonymous. Where would you rank yourself within your athletic abilities in the full athletic department?
I'm not answering that.
You have to answer it.
I'm not. This is a setup question. It's coming from it's either coming from Jared Binko.
No.
Or Brandy Klaus, because Jared has now brought Brandy into his webbing. And, we call Jared. So for everybody who doesn't know, Jared also has a title. I know he is our athletic director. Sets the vision, sets the standard, all the above. There ain't no doubt. But he also is the CIO, the Chief Instigator Officer.
I've heard that.
Yes, and he instigates. And I think that came from somewhere, I'm going to guess somewhere in the Atlanta Metroplex. They dialed that in. And I'm not going to answer it. It's a setup.
I think you need to answer the question.
I mean,
Tracy said top 5.
If Tracy Ham said top 5 and that boy's a college football Hall of Famer, I'll say top 10. Inside the top 10.
Okay.
Inside the top 10.
That's good sense of self. That's good, but that's good on you.
I'm showing vulnerability.
Sign of a good leader. You were part of the process a little more than, well, not quite 2 years ago, but 2 seasons ago to bring in Clay Helton. I mean, we know what happened out in Southern California, but almost 2 years into the vision that you guys were all putting together. What have you noticed about that?
Well, I think, first of all, I mean, you hear the word, but alignment, there's no doubt. I mean, there is no noise around our program. There's no drama. So you're always working to move the needle in a forward position because you're not spending time on things that just create noise. We're always spending time on things that are impactful to our organization and to our enterprise. And I think when you do that, the results are there. If you look at all of our sports from a fall sports standpoint, you naturally see that things are progressing exceptionally well. And not just talking about football, but all of our sports. And then you talk about where Coach Helton has done with our program. Think about this. We haven't had one student athlete, but we haven't had one student athlete in this last season and this season come off our field for any cramping issue. Because our nutrition is well, our strength and conditioning is being communicative, our medical team is being communicative, and our football staff and how they're practicing. And then you look at our coaching staff and how they represent our institution, and then you take it one step further and you look at our student athletes. Even no matter when there's adversity that has struck with this team, whether it be last year or this year, right? And you look at a guy like Kyle Van Treese. I mean, he comes in last year, does what he does as a leader. Should he be playing at the next level? I think all of us at Eagle Nation thinks that guy deserves a shot. There's no doubt, right? But he's here working hard on a brand that he was only experienced with, call it as 1 year, because of the impact that Eagle Nation made. And it's the type of place that this place is that coaches wrap their arms around the student athletes, and at the core, we keep the student athlete at the core, and then from the athletic department as a whole, as a staff, and Jared being our leader, and all of us communicating at a high level, that's our full focus, is making sure that it's a people-driven enterprise. And you think about it, it's the student athlete, it's our coaches, our staff, and it's our fan base and our donors. That makes up the whole deal. And so we have to be people-centric at every move we make.
Was it 2 or 3 years ago where they followed you around on a game day? Did they do that?
That was, I think that was 2020, the season. Yeah, that season. I think they were looking for content because everything that was happening in 2020 as it relates to. Well, I don't even want to say the word.
Look, it popped into my head because I don't get a chance to see you much during a game because of obvious reasons. But how do you watch a football game?
Home games. I create a system. I'll be honest. There's a lot going on in my brain, so I try to come with a system. I could tell you almost within, give or take, 20 minutes where I'm going to be at a given point from about 4 hours before kick all the way through. It's a way to touch point all of our staff, try to hit different areas with fans and donors and tailgates. Talking about the lens, if we're willing to assess and adjust, we got to be looking at everything. So putting eyes on different things. Away games are a little bit different, there's no doubt. But then on away games, you're looking at how other people do things. So your mind's still going, but you get a chance to watch a little bit more football. To be truthfully honest with you, at a home game, there's a lot of football that I don't get a chance to necessarily see everything because you're bouncing around different areas. But we have a high care factor as an organization to make sure that we do that. And everyone on our team, from our athletics foundation staff to all the people that are working, they're looking and making sure that they touch, and interact with our donors, our fans, and then go to different areas and look at our operations. And so, because we genuinely care about Eagle Nation's experience every time they walk through, whether it's at Paulson, whether it's in Hanner, whether it's at our, baseball or softball, soccer, it doesn't matter. So that's what we care about.
To that point, we're spending all of our time hyping up the power of Paulson, but in your case, having spent time at Miami, Nebraska, Marshall, Auburn, some of the best environments in all of college athletics. But in your 3 years here, what makes the atmosphere and the power of Paulson in and of itself? What makes it really stand out?
So 2 things. I think number 1, before the game even starts, outside of Paulson is elite. We have elite tailgating and we have an elite traditions. We have elite traditions as it relates to from Eagle Walk, the school bus, the yellow school buses, all of those things. It impacts it. Now, moving Irk to where he is now is awesome because I love watching our student athletes go right past there through Eagle Walk. Then they get a chance to get on the field and then headbutt them before on the bus inside Paulson before they go back in the locker room. But that right there, number 1. And number 2, the way that we call it the prettiest little state in America. That Paulson has a ton of character. And it's not recreatable. You can go to a bunch of stadiums and they have different things, but Paulson's setting is absolutely gorgeous. And then you put a fan base in there and a brand that cares. That's why you get magical moments like we had against Coastal Carolina. That's why you get those magical moments because you have the right things in place. You can't manufacture traditions and you can't manufacture care. Like empathy, care, and traditions, you can't manufacture that. And so that's what the brand has. And so when you have the team going out there and have that winning moment, it just makes it extra. It has more sizzle to it. And so I think that's why we're going to go try to make another moment on Thursday together as a big family. And we got to pack Paulson and really wrap our arms around that team and bring everything we have because that energy brings a whole nother level. And it also makes it extremely difficult for the visiting team.
Well said. We look forward to it. Chris, thanks very much for the time. Enjoy your Thursday. Hope to see you at some point.
Appreciate it. Appreciate Eagle Nation. Hail Southern.
That's Chris Davis. Tracy Ham, number 8's coming up for our final 2 segments. That'll be after this timeout from Wild Wing Cafe. This is Hail Southern Live, powered by Learfield.
Don't let an injury keep you on the sidelines. So go where the pros go. Optum Orthopedics. They're the official orthopedics and team physicians for Georgia Southern Athletics. Thanks to Optum, our Eagles get the best care on and off the field. The good news is that Optum is here for you too. Located in our community, Optum is the leader in advanced orthopedic care throughout the Southeast. Like the Eagles, you deserve the freedom to soar. With Optum's fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons, you will. Your team, your community, your freedom. Optum Orthopedics, they're here for you.
Did you know that Yancey Rents is a Georgia-owned rental company serving Georgia since 1914? Yancey Rents has excavators, dozers, backhoe loaders, small dump trucks, water trucks, concrete saws, light towers, scissor lifts, and so much more. We've got a huge selection of equipment ready to be rented today. Call 844-YNC-RENT or check us out at yanceyrents.com. With 16 locations around the state and a new expanded lineup of equipment ready to be rented right now, Yancey Rents wants to be your preferred rental supplier in Georgia.
When the game goes into overtime. But the game goes into overtime. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Order Bud Light online today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
It's a Thursday night blue out at Paulson Stadium as your Georgia Southern Eagles play host to the Georgia State Panthers at 7:30 p.m. on October 26th. Call 1-800-GSU-WINS or visit gseagles.com/tickets. Watch the blue and white inside the prettiest little stadium in America. It's the first ever Thursday night matchup between the Eagles and the Panthers. October 26th, 7:30 kickoff. Visit gseagles.com/tickets to get yours or call 1-800-GSU-WINS.
Wild Wing, I think I love you. Hey, Eagle Nation, this is Terry Harvin from the Georgia Southern Sports Network. Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro is your true blue home for hot wings, cold beer, and good times. Owned and operated by a proud Georgia Southern grad, Wild Wing Cafe is the official home of Hail Southern Live, the Eagles' weekly sports show every Monday night starting at 7 p.m. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, catering, or takeouts, you'll say the same thing I do every time. Wild Wing, I think I love you. Go Eagles and go Wild Wing.
Hey Eagle fans, this is Jared Benko. Renew your basketball season tickets today to watch Charlie Henry's first season leading the Eagles. Prices start at $100 for general admission and $150 for upper reserve. Reserve yours by calling 1-800-GSU-WINS or visit gseagles.com/tickets. Parking passes this season are also available to Earth Russell Fund donors for $100. Experience Georgia Southern basketball in its final full season at Hanner Fieldhouse. Renew your season tickets today. 1-800-GSU-WINS or gseagles.com/tickets.
Which schools will take home the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup for the 2023-24 college athletic season? You can follow the standings of your favorite school or alma mater at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. That's thedirectorscup.com and L Directors Cup on Twitter. Trophies will be awarded in June 2024 to the winning institutions in all competitive divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
Hail Southern and GATA.
At Georgia Southern, we have a rich basketball tradition to live up to.
It's a dream come true for me personally.
The Charlie Henry era begins Tuesday, November 6th at Georgia Tech. Network coverage starts at 7 on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
Clean up in the dunk at 4-0-3. Spins and Abson goes the reverse. Man, what a move by Carlos Curry. Shot fake 3 with 1. Yes, from the left wing. 7-7 tie, the snap to Murphy, 5-man pressure, Murphy scrambles right, another hole, Murphy though, he goes down, it's a Georgia Southern sack back at the 40-yard line, Isaac Walker hit him first, Justin Rhodes hit him last, tackle for loss number 5, and ULF's got a punt with 9:15 and running in the first half. One of 6 Georgia Southern sacks and 11 tackles for loss from homecoming last Saturday in the 38-28 victory over ULM. Eagles are 5-2 through 7 games, 2-1 in conference play. Oh, it's a biggie on Thursday night at Paulson. First time these two have ever met on a Thursday night. It's a 7:30 kick you can watch nationally on ESPN2. Broadcast begins at 5:30 on the Georgia Southern Sports Network with the Cutwater Spirits Tailgate Show. We'll talk a lot more football with number 8, Eagle Nation. Please give it up for Tracy Hammond at Wild Wing Cafe.
Danny.
Tracy.
Good to see you again.
You were the AD Symposium earlier today as well. How do things like that benefit you in your current role?
Well, not only myself, but the entire institution. It builds relationship with not only with our coaches, with high school administrators. It also gives the administrators from high schools a chance to look inside of our program and look inside of our athletic department, which is always good. Anytime you get a chance to get people on your campus, it's always a good thing.
The era that you played Georgia Southern football, no lights, no Thursday games, no short weeks, to now see where it has all evolved into, where you're playing just about every day of the week. Did you think that football would get to this point when you were playing?
Well, when we were playing, we didn't think it was a game time start other than 1 o'clock. I mean, we started every game here at 1 o'clock. It was hot. We knew it was going to be hot. We practiced in the heat, and we would always look across the field to see how the heat was affecting our opponents.
Yeah.
So, but it's been great. I think you find that the game has changed. It's changing. It's a changing game. All the changes have been relatively good changes for the game and for the student athletes, which is really what you want to do. You want to make changes that benefits the student athletes.
What do you remember most about the early days of Paulson?
The early days of Paulson. Well, Paulson was such an advantage for us because we felt like that if we could get you in Paulson Stadium, we'll be a tough team to beat. And we felt like it wasn't the crowd wasn't as big, but for us it was a big crowd because if you go back in the history of our program, we started off at the high school where you only could put about 4,000 to 5,000 people over at Womack Field, and then coming from that to our stadium, the home side was always filled. It was always the student side that we were always challenged with was the student side. So we had relatively good crowds, but today the crowds certainly supersede what we did.
Playing in the era that you did with the circumstances that you guys had to deal with, at what point did you realize the kind of toughness that you were developing within yourselves?
Well, we learned that in the park before we got to Georgia. So the toughness that we got growing up, being the youngest of 6, being tossed around quite a bit by my brothers and sisters, toughness came long before I got to Georgia Southern. But we did develop a toughness playing here at Georgia Southern. One of the things Coach Russell really was adamant about is that you don't lose at home. We did everything we could to protect our home field. I think we lost one game at Paulson during our time here, and that was one of the things that we left with. The sour note we left with was that one game we lost at Paulson.
Just to know, over the course of a 41-year journey with the Eagles and being a part of this program and this university, to see all the things that have changed and the innovations that have taken place, but looking back at the core principles that Coach Russell laid out, to see that those are still being followed, that's got to be a pretty cool thing for somebody that saw it at the beginning.
Yeah, I think Clay said it best. He said you preserve your tradition, you fight like hell for innovation. And we were just trying to develop a mindset of what kind of program we wanted to be a part of. And we never thought that it would take off to this standards, but it became the standard. Certain things that you don't negotiate, there's non-negotiables. Practice, you're going to go at it hard in practice. So that was one of those non-negotiables. And the weather was not in it. We didn't concern ourselves about the weather, but we just felt like we wanted to lay a foundation that we can build off of. And I think that's the thing that we really, a lot of the former players talk about is what they see now and how the foundation that was laid and how things are being built off of that, but yet some of the traditions are still preserved. And that's really what you like about it now. The ones that they preserved are really good. The bus ride, everybody loves the Eagle Walk. We didn't have that type of Eagle Walk, but you can see how it transferred into the Eagle Walk. And we really, a lot of the former players, we really enjoy the traditions that we see now. And then some of the things they're doing new, they've even kind of tweaked the Eagle song on the bus, the Valley song on the bus. That's been tweaked a little bit over the years, and it kind of fits the. So a lot of the traditions have been tweaked a little bit, but you can see they're rooted in the history of our program.
What was your Eagle Walk like? I've never asked you that.
Well, I always got to the stadium so early that I didn't really participate because I was one of those. I had a routine, and I always like getting to the stadium 3-4 hours before the game and just really starting to think about what the process was going to be that day.
You have a Roger Inman story that you could tell us?
Not that I can tell you, but Roger for us was a handyman. He did everything. He was the equipment manager, so you had to be nice to him to get gear. He was the bus driver. He just did everything for us. He was such a valuable person for us that, a lot of our stuff came out of having to do multiple things, learning how to do multiple things because Roger did everything.
But to see the people that we have in place now with a Jared, with a Chris, with a Coach Heldon, you go back to Coach Russell, Doc Smith, Doc Swint, Roger, the people that were there and you knew that you could count on, you could rely on because they bled Georgia Southern. That's what makes a place special like this.
Yeah, it's always the people, right? What I've loved about Statesboro have been the people of this community, the people at Georgia Southern. People make it all up. I mean, We spend so much time with the processes and the product, but it's the people that actually make Statesboro and Georgia Southern really special, especially for myself. You know, when I moved back here, lived here for 15 years, lived here during the off season, spent all my time here. Then I went to Atlanta for a few years, but came back. So I've always had a great relationship and always have enjoyed my relationship with the people of Statesboro and Georgia Southern University.
Just a couple of minutes left in this week's edition of Hail Southern Live. We'll close things out with Tracy Ham. We'll talk a little bit of Georgia State. It'll be Eagles and Panthers Thursday night at Paulson. That's when we come back to Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.
Hello, welcome to another bank. Please just say what you need help with.
Check my balance.
I heard pay a bill. Is that correct?
When you bank at Morris Bank, you won't be greeted with an automated response system or wonder if you're just another account number, because real relationships make community banking better. Morris Bank and Georgia Southern football were built on the same blue-collar mentality. And in Morris Bank, blue isn't just a part of our ad campaign, it's a part of our DNA. Morris Bank is proud to be the season presenting sponsor of Georgia Southern football. Bleed blue, bank blue. Morris Bank, member FDIC.
Hi, this is former quarterback Kyle Van Treese. Name, image, and likeness, or NIL in college sports, is here to stay. We have the opportunity to be one of the leaders in our conference and in the group of 5. To keep our championship standard and stay ahead of the rest, we must keep our best players and recruit the best as well. Thanks to the new Eagle Nation Collective, we're in a great position to do just that, but we can't do it without your support. Please help by becoming a member of the Eagle Nation Collective today. Sign up online at eaglenationnil.com and receive exclusive access to our student athletes that you can't get anywhere else. Join the Eagle Nation Collective at eaglenationnil.com.
It's a Thursday night blue out at Paulson Stadium as your Georgia Southern Eagles play host to the Georgia State Panthers at 7:30 p.m. on October 26th. Call 1-800-GSU-WINS or visit gseagles.com/tickets. Watch the blue and white inside the prettiest little stadium in America. It's the first ever Thursday night matchup between the Eagles and the Panthers. October 26th, 7:30 kickoff. Visit gseagles.com/tickets to get yours or call 1-800-GSU-WINS.
Aw, shucks. The game's on TV, but I can't listen to the call of my favorite team broadcasters.
Never fear, Sync My Game is here.
Sync My Game?
Yes, Sync My Game. If you have a DVR and streaming device, head to syncmygame.com from Learfield. It's never been easier to hear the impassioned voices of your favorite radio crew synced with the TV.
Wow, thank you, Mr.
Just remember, syncmygame.com.
The Eagles fly here.
Intercepted. It's picked off. Condry Jackson to the 30. He outruns Bradley to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. How about that on the second play? Wings up, Eagle Nation. Touchdown, Georgia Southern.
Hail Southern and GATA all season long.
He caught it. He caught it. What a lightning bolt. 79 yards to the jet.
On the Georgia Southern Sports Network from Learfield.
What's up, fans? This is Roddy Jones, co-host of College Sports Now. We're breaking down all the action from around the country weekly with new episodes dropping 4 days a week during the football season. We'll look beyond the box score and keep our finger on the pulse of college football from September all the way to the national championship game in January, from the East Coast to the West Coast. Listen all season long on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you love to get your podcasts. And while you're at it, be sure to give us a follow along on Twitter at CSNowTweets.
Powered by Learfield. Welcome back to Hail Southern Live, presented by Morris Bank. Make sure to tweet your questions to @GS Sports Network. Now, let's return live to Wild Wing Cafe. Once again, here's the voice of the Eagles, Danny Reed.
Just about 5 minutes left in this week's edition of Hail Southern Live from Wild Wing Cafe in Statesboro. Georgia State comes to town on Thursday. It's a 7:30 kick at Paulson. We'll be on at 5:30 with the Cutwater Spirits Tailgate Show. Finishing things up with Tracy Ham. We've had Carter Collins on tonight, Chris Davis as well. It's been a really fun show as the team is in active preparation for that Thursday game against the Panthers. One thing I wanted to ask you, you of course are one of the 2 numbers that's retired by this program, AP's number 3 being the other one. When guys visit here and they look up to that press box and see your number, and then they realize that you're here. You're an actual person. You're here.
I'm still living.
No, but if put yourself in their shoes. If you came here, saw that, and then that person was here, what would that do for you as a student athlete?
I would sign here immediately. No, it's different, right? Because during the course of your career, you always taught the humility of the game. You taught how to navigate through success and failures. and you don't want to ever get too high on success, never too low on failure. So it's pretty even keel for me over the years. You know, I understand what my position and role has been here at Georgia Southern, and I get it with fans sometimes see the person number, the actual person that's jersey retired. It's a pretty unique experience for them. So I try to embrace it with them and let them enjoy that moment for
all right,
that time.
I
got a question for you.
You want to ask me a question?
Yes, I want to ask you a question. So you come along a long line of just great play callers, the voices of the Eagles for Nate Hurst, and we go through that. Tell me how it's been for you to call Georgia Southern games over the years. I'm
not usually the one that gets asked the question.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Knowing what Nate had done here for 36 years and what Chris had done for the previous 10, you understand what tradition's about. But then when you hear about yellow school buses, Eagle Creek, what Irk means to people, what he meant, but what he continues to mean to people, every time you get a chance to tell that story, you don't take it for granted.
Right, because you know so much about our history. You basically have studied it over the years, and you get to now see some of the people that create the history. How's that been for you? Like some of the previous quarterbacks, some of the previous players come back.
Well, to something we just talked about with your number 8 being on the press box and AP's number 3 being up, I can go to practice any day and the two of you are having a conversation on the sideline. I don't know if you get that very many places. That's just that's such a cool thing to be able to walk in and see these are the two best that have ever done it here, and they're still part of the program.
And that's been really neat for us as well, because Adrian and I know some people don't know all the history, but we went to the same high school.
Right.
And he's fantastic. So it's been a great relationship between myself and AP.
Short week, playing Thursday. As a player, how do you turn the page that much more quickly?
Well, if you got a short week like we do, the first thing you have to do is not concern yourself with, you got to put that last game in the bucket really quickly, and you just got to get your body right. And then it becomes a mental approach. It's not going to be a physical running routes or run. You got to understand what your base of what you're doing, offensive, defensive, and you got to build off that, because you're not going to have a whole lot of prep time.
Yeah.
And so what you really want to do is make sure you get your body back first. That's the first thing they got to do, is get their body so they can perform at that level. And then you have to really keep a very simple game plan and just really understand what you're trying to attack on them and perform at that level once you understand what you're attacking.
All right, what is your favorite route on the route tree?
Well, when we played, we obviously ran the option, and so I used to love the 3-12 switch and the 3-12 vertical, which essentially we're stretching the field with 4 receivers.
Okay.
I'm glad you understand that. I know you're a football guy, so you completely understood that. So when they look at, we used to set up in, you get the 2 slot backs and the 2 wide receivers, and we would normally run option look off of that. And so instead of running the option look, we would just go a half sprint and go switch route, where the inside guy and the outside guy switch their routes, or we would send everybody vertical and read the free safety.
Well, that was the thing that people didn't really get at first when Paul installed the offense, is that the option that was being run was still just another version of the spread.
Yep.
I mean, it might have looked a little bit packed together, but it was just another version of the spread offense.
Yeah, and what they're doing today is somewhat similar. They just read it from the shotgun. It happens a little slower, but essentially some of the schemes are the same. They're just doing it out the shotgun look.
All right, I asked this question to Chris a little bit earlier, but at a game at Paulson now, where do you watch it? How do you watch it? Do you still get the itch?
I don't get the itch. Let's start with that.
Okay.
There's no more itching. There's nothing to scratch. I got no more desire. I have nothing left. And I'm comfortable with that. And so I try to, it's twofold, because I'm such a football guy and I really enjoy watching the game, because I talk to the players on Monday through Friday. But I really want to watch the game because I understand what we're attacking, and then I also understand that there are fans there that sometimes I'll maybe do a picture, AP and I'll do a picture, but I'm normally on the sideline watching the game where I can stay away and actually look at the inside techniques.
Tracy, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Really, I always enjoy when we get a chance to talk. Have a great time on Thursday.
Thank you, Danny.
That is Tracy Ham for Chris Davis, for Carter Collins, Chris Affolter back in our studios. Danny Reed signing off from Wild Wing Cafe. Join us Thursday night, 7:30, kick live at 5:30. It's Southern versus State from Paulson right here on the Georgia Southern Sports Network, powered by Learfield.